Hi everyone, this is your biology class. I'm your teacher Seema Atreja. Student, in previous video we discussed the process of glycolysis, which is a common step in both aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Here we are going to discuss the second step of aerobic respiration. After glycolysis, glucose is converted into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. This process is carried out in the cytoplasm of the cell. After it, pyruvic acid enters mitochondrial matrix and undergoes oxidative decarboxylation. Oxidative decarboxylation is the second step of aerobic respiration. This step is catalyzed by the enzyme pyruvate dehydrogenase, and in this step pyruvic acid is converted into acetyl coenzyme A. One molecule of coenzyme A is used up in this process. As pyruvic acid is 3 carbon compound and acetyl coenzyme A is 2 carbon compound. So one molecule of CO2 is released in this process, and also one molecule of NAD is reduced to NADH2. As 2 molecules of pyruvic acid are produced in glycolysis, and here 1 molecule of pyruvic acid is converted into acetyl coenzyme A. So 2 molecules of pyruvic acid are converted into 2 molecules of acetyl coenzyme A. So 2 molecules of coenzyme A is used, 2 molecules of CO2 are released in this process, and 2 molecules of NADH2 are produced in this process. As we already discussed, 1 molecule of NADH2 give rise to 3 ATP molecules by last step of aerobic respiration, that is oxidative phosphorylation. So later on we encache the ATP from NADH2. 2 molecules of acetyl coenzyme A are produced in this process. Now these acetyl coenzyme A enters into the Krebs cycle. Next topic we are going to discuss in this video is Krebs cycle. Krebs cycle is also known as TCA or tricarboxylic acid cycle, because first product produced in first substance formed in Krebs cycle is tricarboxylic acid, that is citric acid. So we called it as tricarboxylic acid cycle or citric acid cycle. Krebs name is given on the basis of the scientist Hans Krebs, who described it first time. So by oxidative decarboxylation, 2 molecules of acetyl coenzyme A are produced. These acetyl coenzyme A enters into Krebs cycle. This is the sketch of Krebs cycle. So acetyl coenzyme A combines with oxaloacetic acid. Oxaloacetic acid is 4 carbon compound. 1 molecule of water is also used in this process. Acetyl coenzyme A combines with oxaloacetic acid and water molecule in the presence of enzyme citrate synthase and converted into citric acid. First stable product produced in Krebs cycle is citric acid, which is tricarboxylic acid. So we called it as tricarboxylic acid cycle. In this step, 1 molecule of coenzyme A is released. In the next step, citric acid is converted into isocitrate or isomerize into isocitrate. Isocitrate and citric acid both are isomers and both are 6 carbon compound. Citric acid is converted into isocitrate in presence of isomerase enzyme. In the next step, isocitrate is converted into alpha ketoglutaric acid. Alpha ketoglutaric acid is 5 carbon compound and isocitrate is 6 carbon compound. So 1 molecule of CO2 is released in this process and 1 molecule of NAD is reduced to NADH2. In the next step, alpha ketoglutaric acid is converted into succinyl coenzyme A, which is a 4 carbon compound, and alpha ketoglutaric acid is 5 carbon compound. So 1 molecule of CO2 is released in this process and 1 molecule of coenzyme A is used in the formation of succinyl coenzyme A. And in this step also 1 molecule of NAD is reduced to NADH2. In the next step, succinyl coenzyme A is converted into succinic acid. And in this step, 1 molecule of coenzyme A is released and energy is released here is utilized in the formation of 1 molecule of GTP. As ATP is produced, in this step, GTP molecule is produced. Later on, this GTP molecule gives rise to 1 molecule of ATP. Succinic acid is converted into fumarate. And in this step, FAD molecule is reduced into FADH2. As NADH2 is produced, in this step FADH2 is produced. NADH2 give rise to 1 molecule of NADH2 give rise to 3 ATP, but here 1 molecule of FADH2 give rise to 2 ATP. In the next step, fumarate is converted into malic acid or malate. Both are 4 carbon compound. In the next step, malic acid is converted into oxaloacetic acid. Regeneration of OAA, oxaloacetic acid, takes place. And when malic acid is converted into oxaloacetic acid, 1 more molecule of NAD is reduced in this step and NADH2 are produced. So this is the complete outline of Krebs cycle. What we are observing here, single acetyl coenzyme A enters in this cycle, but 2 acetyl coenzyme A are produced by oxidative decarboxylation. So this Krebs cycle is revolved 2 times. This is the outline of 1 Krebs cycle. We multiply it by 2. Now we are going to count how many numbers of NADH2, FADH2 and ATP are produced in 1 Krebs cycle. Acetyl coenzyme A is formed by the process of oxidative decarboxylation. In oxidative decarboxylation, 1 molecule of NADH2 is produced by 1 molecule of pyruvic acid. But if we are taking 2 pyruvic acid, so 2 acetyl coenzyme A are produced and 2 molecule of NADH2 are produced. In oxidative decarboxylation step, which is not the part of Krebs cycle. 1 molecule of NADH2 give rise to 3 ATP. 2 NADH2 molecules give rise to 6 ATP later on. So in process of oxidative decarboxylation, we are receiving 6 ATP. which are later on encashed in the last step of aerobic respiration, that is oxidative phosphorylation. Now we count how many NADH2 and FADH2 and ATP are produced in the Krebs cycle. Acetyl coenzyme A enters in Krebs cycle. When isocitrate converted into alpha-ketoglutarate acid, 1 NADH2 is produced. Next NADH2 is produced when alpha-ketoglutarate acid is converted into succinyl coenzyme A. And third NADH2 are produced when malic acid is converted into OAA, oxaloacetic acid. So in Krebs cycle, 3 molecule of NADH2 are produced in one Krebs cycle. 1 molecule of ATP are produced. 1 molecule of ATP are produced when succinyl coenzyme A is converted into succinic acid. And 1 molecule of FADH2 are produced when succinic acid is converted into fumarate. So 3 molecule of NADH2, 1 molecule of ATP and 1 molecule of FADH2 are produced in one Krebs cycle. Because 2 molecule of acetyl coenzyme A enters in Krebs cycle, so we duplicate all these multiplied by 2. So 6 NADH2 are produced, 2 ATP are produced and 2 FADH2 are produced. From 1 NADH2, 3 ATP are produced. From 6 NADH2, 3 ATP are produced, and when we multiplied with 6, they give rise to 18 ATP. Here are produced 2 ATP and here are produced 4 ATP. So on the whole from Krebs cycle, 24 ATP are produced. This is the complete Krebs cycle. I think the concept is very much clear to you all. This is all about in this video. Thank you so much.